Hey everyone, thanks for joining into this episode of Keep Kansas Home. My name's Rick Cluse and I'm here with my wife Penny. And today we're going to be talking about human trafficking. Some refer to as a sex trafficking in this episode. And I want to just tell you from right at the front, I am not an expert in this area. We are not an expert in this area. And I've been saying from the start of my campaign that I'm going to be doing a lot of listening, a lot of learning, and should I become governor, empowering the right people to the right places. But we have attended, and some of our staff, some conferences, and actually had someone here locally from the YWCA share with our team about this subject. And I just felt like it's important enough to us and to so many Kansans out there that we need to get this message out and bring an awareness. And so that's really what we want to do in today's episode. You know, dear, one of the statistics I have read says that there's over 27 million people worldwide that are affected and with this. And so when you think about Kansas City Stadium, the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium, it seats about 75,000 people. And that would be like filling it up 354 times.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people when you think of 27 million people worldwide.
Yeah, so I just want to share just a little bit the difference between sex trafficking and human trafficking, because mostly you hear about sex trafficking, but when you meet with people with the different centers, they're going to talk to you about human trafficking because that involves all that they're dealing with. It's a whole lot more than just what you think in general and what they sometimes just show on TV. You know, I was in this situation once where I saw something happening and I thought, you know, if I didn't know better, I would think this was something to do with that. But I thought, you know, we live in Kansas, that doesn't go on here. But it does happen here, and that's why we're doing this program. In fact, Kansas is one of the more prominent states where they traffic people through. And so we just want to bring an awareness. So I'm going to share just the difference. Human trafficking is a modern form of slavery where it exploits people for forced labor and sexual slavery. But sex slavery or sex trafficking is just more an exploitation in that area, like prostitution or pornography, those kind of things. So the difference is that human trafficking deals with forced labor also, where people are in a situation that they can't really get out of. And there's a whole lot of good information on some websites that we're going to share later. You would think, well, why don't these people just get out of it? But it's not as easy as it sounds. So after the thing, you can always go to the different websites and check out all this information. There's so much more and so much you can learn.
Well, and the U.S. Justice Department has identified Kansas as one of the originating states of human trafficking. And so that's, you know, important to know too when we talk about Kansas and the fact that this whole industry is so lucrative, and that's why people are in it.
Yeah, and many experts say that human trafficking is second only to drug trafficking. It's one of the bigger criminal enterprises, and out of human trafficking, they say that they make $150 billion. Billion dollars a year. 99 billion of that comes from sex trafficking. So, like you said, it's a very lucrative problem.
And so what's the breakdown then on that?
With women, with sex trafficking, human trafficking, 71% are women, and surprisingly, 29% of those trafficked are men. And then if you look at it in the form of ages, it's 75% are adults and 25% are children.
So a lot of children being taken and caught up in this as well.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah, and so when we think about the industry and how lucrative it is and how many people are involved, they do this because it's about power and control. over individuals' lives. And so it's more than just the sexual abuse and trafficking. Things that are involved with it is intimidation, and I just listed some of these: isolation, emotional abuse, forced labor, which you touched on it already, the physical abuse, and then this was one that was kind of new to me, forced marriage as well. So there's so much more. And then when you consider how they get people into it, the recruiters many times are past and even present victims.
Yeah.
And I say that they're victims that have been coerced and forced into being recruiters. And so what can we do? What can I do should I become governor? And a couple of things that I was thinking about, just funding options, finding the funding that's necessary to keep organizations going forward in this, because it's going to take everybody across the state working together in rural and urban area of Kansas. And one of the big things that has been brought up as well is reintegration, which is going to entail long-term shelters. Many times when people are brought out of sex trafficking, human trafficking, whichever the case may be, the shelter that they get put in is only like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just not
It's
long
not
enough at
enough
all.
to help
No,
someone.
not at all. And so it's going to be really important. And the third thing would be encouraging and networking the agencies that are out there and nonprofits together to be a bigger force. Because it's really going to take everybody working together to make an impact and see something change here in Kansas and worldwide as well. But I felt it necessary to bring this program to you today and this episode and to take a stance, and we actually put it on our campaign webpage, Clues for Kansas, and you can go there. But I just want to read it to you as well. I recognize that sex trafficking is an insidious issue that plagues our communities. As governor, I will make every effort to support individuals and agencies that are working to combat sex trafficking. Additionally, I will make funding and resources a priority to restoration and shelter programs that assist survivors. And that really kind of sums up the three things that I had just mentioned. But places of support are going to be very important. And dear, why don't you just list some of the agencies that are in Kansas that people can reach out to?
Well, if you're in this area, you could get with the YWCA Center for Safety and Empowerment.
So in the Topeka area?
Yeah, in the Topeka area, or the Topeka Rescue Mission. In Wichita, they have the Center for Combating Human Trafficking. And then if you're out from those areas and you need to get information or contact someone, you can get with the Kansas Attorney General's website. They have a lot of incredible information on there and a hotline that you can call.
Yeah, and if you know somebody in a situation now and you need to reach out, there is a national hotline number, and I want to share that with you as well, 1-888-3737-888. And let me say that again, this is the national hotline for support, trafficking hotline, 1-888-3737-888. And so it's going to be really important that, we need to be a voice when it comes to this subject matter. And so thank you for joining in today. And I hope that it's helped bring an awareness for watching this program, this episode of Keep Kansas Home. And we want to thank you for joining in. Be sure to share this with your friends, get it out there in social media, like us as well. It's so important to our campaign and where we're going. So I would just want to say this again: together we can build a better Kansas, together we can be successful, and together
we can win.
We can win. We'll see you next time right here at Keep Kansas Home.